Hey everyone, CJ here. This is a combat guide for the Cloudbreaker Alliance Tabletop RPG that is currently being playtested. We have released the second batch of playtest materials, and it is all about the combat rules. You can download the playtest materials and join our Discord server, where I and other playtesters organize test games. Link in the description. For this video, I'm going to go through the whole combat process with a mock combat situation. But before I do, let me explain the design principle of Cloudbreaker Alliance's combat. Combat in this game is based on the 4-part story structure commonly used in East Asian storytelling: Ki, Sho, Ten, Kitsu. Rise, development, twist, and resolution. Most mangas, kung fu and wuxia movies use this structure. And Hirohiko Araki, the author of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, swears by this method in his book. On top of that, we also use the Alfred Hitchcock's principle of suspense to add more tension to combat. So how does it really work? Well, let's get right into the simulation. When the player characters get into combat situations, we start with a setup phase. Here, you determine the turn order and formation. Player characters and enemies take turns to act, according to their descending turn order. Turn order is based on their turn speed. Highest number goes first. In case there are multiple characters with the same turn speed, player-controlled characters go first, followed by NPCs and enemies. If there are 2 players with the same speed, then the players discuss among themselves who want to go first. As for the enemies, the game master who controls them decide their turn order. Player characters and enemies take turns to act. In Cloudbreaker Alliance, we want you to make interesting decisions rather than reacting to random number generator or your dice. That is why the turn order is decided automatically without needing any dice roll. But you have to decide your combat formation. Depending on the story flow, the game master may call for a scenario formation, where you are positioned according to where you are in the story, like this. The characters were going their separate way looking for clues. That's why they are located in different zones. To make things more organized, the game master may call for a standard formation. In standard formation, you are positioned with an empty zone between you and your enemies. Then you decide who the frontliners are going to be, and they advance into the empty zone to intercept the enemy. The empty zone then serves as the melee front line. If you don't send anyone, then the opposing side can advance as far as they want, potentially letting them reach your weaker party members. You don't want that to happen, of course. So that's why our sample characters, Marla and Shirvan, moves forward to intercept the enemy, while Naomi stays in place in the backup zone. The battlefield is not just limited to these zones, of course. It can be as big as you want, but I am just restricting the scale here to make it easy to understand. In this situation, they are fighting 4 razor shells, and 1 mysterious enemy all caked up in sand clumps. We don't know what creature it is yet. The enemy group also has a total of 5 morale tokens. This represents their willingness to fight. You don't have to kill every single enemy to win. You just need to eliminate their will to fight by expending their morale tokens. You will see how it works as combat proceeds. Round 1. Now, combat truly starts. Marla has the highest speed, so she could have gone first. But she chooses to delay her turn so that she can get buffed by her brother Shirvan's class feature. In combat, you can delay your turn anytime and lower your turn order. Consequently, you will also be using that turn order on the next round. Now Shirvan takes his turn. At the start of your turn, you gain a spirit token. These are important resources you can use to unleash your spirit bursts. As you can see here, Shirvan already has one and he is going for his second token. That's because he is a level 8 character. Player characters of different grades start the combat situation with different amount of spirit tokens. They also have different amounts of minor actions they can use on their turn. We don't usually have groups with such diverse level gaps, but this is done for the sake of demonstration. Shirvan uses his Templar's Protection class feature to buff his sister Marla, and proceeds to use his major action to make a major attack at the enemy Razor Shell. Melee attack can only reach enemies in the same zone, and this is how attacking works. The player rolls 2 6-sided dice, or 2d6, and adds the mastery bonus. Because he is using a weapon he has mastery in, he adds his +4 bonus mastery to his roll. The attack roll is then compared to the target's defense, and if he gets the same amount or over the enemy's defense, his attack hits, and he can deal his weapons damage. He rolled a total of 13, that is 5 points over the Razor Shell's defense, so it hits. And if you rolled over the enemy defense, you deal the excess amount as excess damage. So 5 excess plus 6 longsword damage. That is a total of 11 sharp weapon damage. With its hit points reduced to half or below, the Razor Shell's leg started trembling and it is losing balance. If you look at the Razor Shell stat block, this means that the monster is faltering. Faltering enemies are easier to neutralize. There are other ways to win besides defeating enemies by reducing their hit points to 0. You can also neutralize enemies by taking advantage of their weaknesses. A Razor Shell can be auditorily confused by whistles, which could be made with your artistry skill or mechanics kit roll, since there is an air horn in your mechanics kit. So Shirvan used his last remaining minor action to try to neutralize the Razor Shell. He rolls artistry and whistles really hard. He rolled a total of 9. Since the Razor Shell is faltering, the task difficulty for neutralization is reduced from 16 to 8. Shirvan succeeded, and the Razor Shell flew away in confusion. It is as good as defeating the enemy. When an enemy is defeated or neutralized, the enemy group loses a morale token, and the character who contributed the most to the loss is awarded a spirit token. In this case, it is Shirvan. Cloudbreaker has an open book policy. Players can always look up the stats of monsters in the book and figure out their weaknesses and ways of neutralizing them. But sometimes, some monsters' identity are hidden by the darkness or through camouflage. And that's when you need to identify them through analysis. The party don't recognize this big monster because it is covered by sand clumps. So before his turn ends, Shirvan uses his free action to analyze the monster. You can always use a free action when you fulfill the specific condition. And the first analysis action you make on your turn is free. But you need to spend minor actions for additional analyses if you are making it in the same turn. So Shirvan rolls his information skill and succeeded in identifying it. Apparently, the big monster is an Kara-Tur, a powerful and dangerous monster with a deathly secret. Now it is Marla's turn. She starts by gaining a spirit token. Don't worry, she's got this. She spends 5 mind points or MP to cast Wind Shear at rank 1. It is a zone effect spell that affects Razor Shell and the Kara-Tur in the same zone. She makes an effect roll by rolling her 2d6 and adds her mastery +4. Oh, unfortunately, she rolled terribly and rolled a total of 6, with 5 bonus damage from the spell. She deals just 5 damage to the Razor Shell and 6 to the Kara-Tur. Oh, but wait, Shirvan reminds Marla that she has Templar's Protection, so she should add additional 2 damage each. On top of that, these monsters are weak to spells, so her damages are doubled. Now it is looking slightly better. Since Marla's class is Glyph Hand of the Martial Arcanist discipline, she gains a spell glyph whenever she uses a spell or martial arts. She could also follow up her spell with a martial arts combo. She rolls better in her martial arts attack this time, rolling 15, which is quite high over the enemy defense. But unfortunately, you don't deal excess damage for follow-up attacks and combos. Oh, but she's not done yet. She spends 3 spirit tokens and unleash her Spirit Burst, which allows her to combo her attack with a spell. She uses her spell glyph to reduce the MP cost of the spell by 5, so Marla's rank 1 Wind Shear spell, which would have cost 5 MP, becomes free. Since she reduced the Razor Shell's hit point to 0, that thing is defeated. morale token reduced, spirit token up. Keep in mind that only some spells allows you to reduce the MP cost using spell glyphs. Okay, finally it is the enemy's turn. The two enemy razor shells circles the melee zone to try to reach Naomi. Their special feature allows them to move faster if they use their major action to move. This kind of flanking tactic should get the players in the backup zone nervous. Luckily for Naomi, they were unable to reach her yet. Naomi is a level 2 character, so she starts combat without any spirit tokens, and gains the first one on her turn. As a Phantommancer channeler, she could summon her Phantasm and command it to attack her enemy. Phantasms are invisible for creatures without astral sight, so they attack enemies who couldn't see them with edge. It means that players can roll twice and pick the best rolled result. Now it is the Acros's turn. It knows that Naomi is the weakest one here, so it moves out of the front line and into her zone. But before it could move, it needs to take 2 opportunity strikes from its opponents in the same zone. This is the reason why you want melee combatants in the front line. Using their free action, they can make one major melee attack at any enemies voluntarily leaving the zone they share. This disincentivizes enemy from moving away from the melee zone. The opportunity strikes hit, and the Acra is faltering now. Oh, this is bad. When the Acra Boomaloo is faltering, it reveals its hidden stinger, which deals massive damage. Luckily it misses. But don't relax just yet, because it can spend a morale token to get a morale boost, allowing it to roll its attack with edge. The reroll is a critical hit, so whatever damage dealt is doubled. This means Naomi takes a whopping 46 damage. At 0 hit points, she is downed and falls prone. She only has 24 hit points. After that damage takes her hit points to 0, the excess damage is dealt to her resolve, so she gets 22 resolve damage. She's got 12 resolve left. If her resolve is reduced to 0, then she will die. Downed characters can't use any actions on their turn, but they remain conscious and can still communicate with their party members. Luckily, we have reached round 2, and it is Shirvan's turn again. After taking a spirit token, Shirvan uses his minor action. He threw a healing powder at Naomi and healed her for a total of 15 hit points. She now also has the medicated condition. Healing items in Cloudbreaker Alliance are quite powerful, but characters can only benefit from it once a day. They can't benefit from any additional healing items if they have the medicated condition. They have to take an 8 hours full rest to remove the condition. Now Shirvan moves in to attack the Acra. On Maras' turn, she takes a spirit token and casts Flame Arrow at rank 2. She dealt 38 damage to the Acra. That should have finished the job. But don't be too happy yet. The Acra used a morale token to activate the emergency half recovery morale boost and offset the damage by half its maximum hit points. And the excess is recovered, so it actually recovers 2 additional hit points. But the silver lining is that the morale token used is given to Marla as spirit. Marla then makes a follow-up attack to deal a little extra damage. The weaker Razor Shell doesn't want to present itself as soft target, so it uses its major action to make an orderly retreat. Retreating enemies leaves the battlefield without losing any morale tokens. This is a tactic which can be used by the GM. Instead of letting the players defeat a weakened monster and take its morale token, it is more tactical to order it to retreat after skirmishing. So the morale tokens can be left for the more powerful monsters. The other Razor Shell moves in to attack Naomi. Since she is prone, the melee attack is made on her with edge. She is looking real bad right now. If she doesn't do anything clever, the Acra Boomaloo might just kill her on its turn. So she had to play it smart. On Naomi's turn, she gains a spirit token and attacks the Razor Shell with her Phantasm, because it has less hit points than the Acra Boomaloo. She then uses her default Spirit Burst, Rage. For every spirit point she uses, she increases the damage she deals by 2. Unfortunately, she didn't do enough damage to defeat it. But don't give up yet, because there is one more rule you can use to your advantage. Spirit Transfer, aka the power of friendship. You can transfer your spirit token to your party members at any time by paying 1 token as transfer cost. Shirvan has 4 spirit tokens. After paying 1 token for transfer cost, he gave the remaining 3 to Naomi. Marla does the same. With all of these extra spirit tokens, she boosted her spirit burst and piles on more damage until she destroys her enemy. Enemy defeated, morale token down. When the enemy runs out of morale tokens, they are routed. They lose, and you can narratively describe how you dealt with them. Let them go or wipe them out. Naomi is not in a good mood after the ordeal, so she took her sweet bloody revenge on the Akra. Begin, development, twist, and resolution. That is what makes combats in Cloudbreaker Alliance unique. In other tabletop RPGs, combats lose steam as the player and enemies run out of resources. But in Cloudbreaker Alliance, combats get progressively more tense as you gain spirit tokens and turn the tide of battle to your favor with powerful spirit tokens. But a twist is not really a twist if it works in the player's favor all the time. So captain and boss ranked enemies can gain danger tokens to unleash their own special abilities. Randomized enemy ability is like jump scares. You can't plan for it, so it only surprises you for a bit. Whereas enemy getting resources, and you can see it happening, creates suspense. Thus, the fear created by this method lasts longer. Okay, so that is the gist of combat in Cloudbreaker Alliance. Download the playtest materials on our official website and join our Discord to play the playtest version. Links below. CJ over and out.